Today let's talk about quietly quitting. Not with judgment, not with hot takes, just real talk. Because I've been asking myself lately, could I actually do it? Hello, I'm Anna, and on this channel we talk about recovery, we talk about life, boundaries, and figuring things out one day at a time. So, quietly quitting. It's not actually quitting your job. It's doing your job and only your job. No emotional overtime, no proving yourself, no going above and beyond. Just meeting the requirements of your role and leaving it there. And I've been sitting with this question, could I live like that? As someone who is late diagnosed ADHD and autistic, I actually didn't realise until recently that not everyone has to fight their brain to get through a workday. For most of my life, I just, assumed everyone was just overcompensating. I assumed everyone had to push harder just to keep up. For me, doing average often means starting earlier, planning more, rehearsing conversations, thinking through how something's going to be received, how's it going to land, analysing reactions afterwards. There's a lot happening internally that people just don't see. So when people just say, do the minimum, I genuinely don't know what that would look like for me. Because if I did the bare minimum, would I actually be meeting expectations? Or would I fall behind? That's the part no one really talks about. In a neurotypical system, sometimes the minimum already assumes certain executive function skills that don't come naturally to me. So in some ways, I already feel like I'm working at capacity just to function some days, which makes the idea of quietly quitting complicated. At the end of last year, I had to make some decisions to protect my health and my well-being. I've talked before about control, what I can control and what I can't. And I can't control everything around me, but I can control how much I take on. And someone asked me recently, can you actually be satisfied with good enough though? And that question hit hard because I don't naturally operate at good enough. I operate at keep going. And I realize that constantly over-functioning comes at a cost for me. So maybe for me, this isn't about quietly quitting. Maybe it's about having better boundaries. Maybe it's about redefining what doing well actually means for me. But here's the part I find harder. What happens when people around you are quietly quitting and you're not? When you move really fast, when your brain moves really fast like mine, when you see what needs to be done and you just do it, and the people around you are slower or more relaxed or just, content doing less. I'll be honest, it can be frustrating at times, and not because they're wrong, but because comparison creeps in. And it can feel like, why am I carrying this much? Why does this matter so much to me? Why can't I just switch off like that? But here's what I'm learning. Their workload isn't mine. Their standards aren't mine. Their values aren't mine. And I don't have to carry both. And if someone chooses to prioritize family and hobbies or simply conserving their energy, then that is valid and that is perfect because that's theirs. And I would love to do that too. But if I choose to deeply care about my work as well, that's valid too. The problem only starts when I take responsibility for someone else's outputs, what they're doing, And if their choices increase my workload more, then that's a conversation about boundaries, It's not resentment. It's not about that. And that distinction's been really important for me. I think what this really comes down to for me is safety. Could I feel safe doing less? Could I trust that I'm still enough if I'm not over delivering all the time? You know, that's the deeper question for me, because I don't think I could quietly quit in the trendy sense of the phrase, but I can stop quietly exhausting myself. I can stop quietly proving my worth all the time. I can choose intentional effort instead of automatic over effort, and that feels healthier. So maybe quietly quitting isn't about doing less. Maybe it's about doing what you can live with and doing what aligns with your values, you know, doing what protects your health and doing what allows you to show up sustainably so I can keep going. For me, I'm still working that out. But I'm curious, if you're neurodivergent, does this resonate at all, or is this just a me thing? Does the idea of doing the bare minimum feel freeing, or is it actually terrifying? Let me know in the comments, because I really, really, really want to hear your experiences. So if this conversation helped, stick around. On this channel, we talk about life and recovery and learning to live well one day at a time. So feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.